Hello, I'm Dale Davidson, and welcome to my story. Each and every week at this time, we put together a show where we find a fascinating guest with an interesting life story. And we've done it again this time, we're pleased to say. We have Jennifer Halter with us. She is a member of Survivors of Institutional Abuse, and she is a survivor of a school called New Bethany. And she's going to talk a little bit about her life as a captive is really what it amounts to. And there may be some graphic details from time to time, so I wouldn't let little kids watch the show. That's just my advice to parents. Let's turn to Jennifer now. Thanks for joining us, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We appreciate you coming by. Where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up?
Here in Las Vegas.
Oh, is that right? Oh, okay. And you went away for a while, though. You left Las Vegas, and you ended up in a place called New Bethany. Tell me how old you were when that all happened. And
I was 13.
13 years old.
I was 13 until I was 15.
Wow, 2 years in this place. Now, what was the motivation that your parents had? I assume it was your parents to send you there.
My parents tricked me into going there. They made me think I was going to a Catholic school, something that I've always wanted to go to. And my parents tricked me into going there, and to pretty much put me in control when I really wasn't in any trouble whatsoever. I had gotten in trouble one time prior to the time of going to New Bethany.
Right.
And I'd never been in trouble before.
Yeah.
My mom thought I was just hanging out with the wrong people.
And did they have the belief now the promotion for New Bethany was always that it was a Christian organization, right? And were they taken in by that, or did they know what was in store for you at this place?
I can't answer that because I'm not really for sure. New Bethany was a Baptist reformatory, and it was a church as well. Right. And we were Catholic. I was always raised Catholic, so. Right. I'm not really for sure if that's what led my mom into thinking that it was going to be okay to send me to a place because it had religion. I'm really not for sure about that.
Yeah. Tell me what it was like. You had to be scared.
Very scared.
Once you realized what was going on, did you figure it out as soon as you got there, or earlier?
I figured it out before I actually got into the gate.
Oh, is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And where was the New Bethany located?
Arcade, Louisiana.
Louisiana, and that was the original site. And I understand since that it moved to other states. Is that well?
Matt Ford has plenty of other properties as well. He had some in North Carolina and Florida, as you know. But I'm not really for sure if New Bethany was exactly where he originally started.
Oh, okay.
Because he would move kids back and forth to his other homes that he had as well. Right. So I'm not really for sure which one actually started.
Yeah, and his name is Mac Ford. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, when you got there, tell me what happened. Tell me about your first day at New Bethany.
It's like hard to start with.
That's okay. Take your time.
Well, let's see. My mom had actually. I'm not really for sure exactly how I got to New Bethany, besides the long drive from wherever it was. When we got to Louisiana, we rented a car to New Bethany, of course. And I remember when we came up to the road, it was like a really long road. And I kept asking my mom, well, where are we going? And she was just like, oh, don't, you'll see when we get there, And I remember when we had come up to the gate, it was like a 10-foot fence with barbed wire on the top, and it was chained shut. And we had to wait for somebody to actually come out there and undo the chains and open the gate for us to come in. And at that time is when I realized something was wrong, something was going not the way that I was told. And I had to keep asking my mom, like, where are we at? And she just kept saying, it's the best place for me to send you. And when we pulled into the driveway, it was a long driveway, and they were coming around to a bend, like a curve. Mm-hmm. And they even changed the fence closed behind us as well. And I didn't want to get out of the car. I just remember screaming and crying to my mom, please not to leave me. And I was, at that time, we were, Miss Shipman was her name, and two girls greeted us at the door, actually at my car door, because I didn't want to get out. And I was told, I needed to get out, and meet the people that I was going to be staying with, you know, and not to worry about it, you know, it was going to be all good. And it's still at this time, I didn't know it was like a Baptist church. I didn't know, I didn't see any church actually really on the compound. So, I mean, you know, I was like dazed and confused pretty much because I didn't, you know, I kept telling my mom, this isn't a place where you said you were going to take me. And everything that I had owned at that time fit in a Foot Locker in a trunk. And I didn't even know it was actually still inside the, you know, the house, which is the dorm. And I remember getting out at that time, and I walked into the door with Miss Shipman, and she had told me to come back to her room. She wanted, you know, to talk to me as well, and I did. And before I knew it, I remember turning around and my mom was walking out the door already. And I remember taking off toward the door, screaming at my mom not to leave me, please not to leave me.
Now, Miss Shipman was the dorm supervisor.
She's a dorm mother.
The dorm mothers, and the other girls that you mentioned, they were also. They were also girls of the home, but or junior staff as well, one or the other. Oh, okay. And so they used the girls for you know, enforcement purposes, right? Yeah. Yeah, they made it to where it looked like it was all good at first. Yeah. And when some of the girls would be more than happy to volunteer to do some of the things, as well as the staff members as well. Oh, is that right? Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit more about your adaptation from that first day on. It had to be really hard to adapt to this regimen. It was sounded based on your book, which I've read. It was very hard to deal with because of the fact that I had never been abandoned or left behind ever in my life. Yeah, and I remember watching my mom leave, you know, and it was like she would stop her car as I was like running toward her car, so I would stop thinking, okay, she's going to come back, you know. Right. And she proceeded to wait for them to open up the gate for her to drive away. And at that time, I was drugged into the dorm, taken into the back showers, and I was told to take my clothes off. And I was scrubbed down with Selsun Blue and bug spray with a Brillo pad because I had germs. I had the devil was inside me, so that was a way for them to cleanse it, to get away. And at that time, it's when I knew, thinking to myself, where would my mama put me in a place like this, you know? And all I kept saying was that as soon as she got to where she would be at, she would realize what she had done. She'd come back and get me. And she never did. And I would cry, and I would cry, and I would cry, and I was always told if I didn't stop crying, that they were going to give me something to cry about. And that was the first night I ever got licks with a paddle in my entire life. Yeah. Never been hit before. Yeah. Until I was crying at like 3 o'clock that morning. That Miss Shipman had came into the dorm that I was staying at with the room. When I first got there wasn't very many girls because the home had already been raided once, and the girls were, you know, removed from the home or sent to another home, just to turn around to be returned back to McFord and, you know, and staff members. And so there was only 5 of us. I made the 5th girl there, and I was pulled from my bunk bed and drugged down the hall into Miss Shipman's room, and got my very first licking, is what they called it. Because I would not stop crying. I was keeping up all the girls, and they didn't cry there. They were literally doing whatever they could to break me, to break the devil out of me, is what they would tell me, that I had the devil inside me, and that, you know, I was everything under the sun but a good kid to them. So. Yeah, they're just trying to break and control your behavior. That's really was about. It was like they want you to do what they want you to do. You know. Pretty much. It was whatever. You didn't even have to get in trouble at this place to be in trouble. Oh, really? You would get licks for being friends with girls. And I had, you know, there was me and 3 other girls, and we were best friends, and still to this day we are today. And we would get in trouble for each other. Yeah. You know, as well as we would take the blame for each other as well, knowing that we were going to get the licks. You know, and as soon as they realized that we were close. It was considered a clique or whatever you wanted to call it. We were separated, and if we were even caught looking at each other, or we were given licks to the point where, at one time,
I had gotten over 75 licks because of the fact that they thought I was cheating, and I had asked my best friend an answer, which you can't ask them answers on a test because there's no way of cheating. You have to go up to in the middle of the room and check it yourself, and then go back to your desk and redo the answers over again. There's possibly no way you can remember and put it in order how many, what the questions were at the time. And I got in trouble for that until I broke the desk. They hit me so hard I broke the desk.
Wow. Now, so that was really my next question. People's conception of what a lick is different than what they were administering to you. They were beating you, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and how hard would they hit you?
They would hit you pretty much as hard as you possibly can. I mean, the one door mother would, she was a very large woman, very short, and so was Macford's wife, They were very short women, but very large, And Miss Nora would take her paddle, and she would pull it as far back as she possibly could until maybe the paddle touched her other shoulder. And she would swing that paddle. I mean, you could hear the wind just going past you, knowing that there's no way that you could just cringe not for it not to hurt.
Right.
And I mean, there was times that they had hit me so hard that it knocked the wind out of me, that I actually threw up, fell to my knees, and if you cried, they would start over again. If you let go of the chair, they would start over again. There was times that they would get tired, like when I had gotten beat in school, they got tired and called another staff member in as well to finish the job because she had gotten tired. So, I mean, So
you had 75 licks at a time?
At a time. There's been girls there that had more than that. I had my tail broken there because I was hit with the paddle in the kitchen, and I had my tailbone broken because of it as well.
Wow.
I mean, how hard did they hit us? Hard isn't the word. Hard is not the word.
Yeah.
And if they couldn't hit hard, they would have you held down so they could hit too hard.
Right.
So.
Now, I understand that they put you to work. It was almost a child labor kind of situation. What kind of jobs did they give you to do?
I used to have to scrub the kitchen floor with my toothbrush.
Oh, right.
On my hands and knees. We would have to feed the horses, which I loved.
Mm-hmm.
We had to do the boys' laundry. We had to cook their food. We had to clean the kitchen. I mean, we were literally, from the time we would get up in the morning, we had to start cleaning. We had to do our chores. We had to clean the whole entire dorm. And then people had kitchen duty where we would scrub the grill, do the dishes. And it's not like a normal household where you're just doing anywhere between 5 to 10 dishes. It's a lot, like if you were in a school.
Right.
And you were doing that many plus some, because we also had to do the boys' side as well.
Yeah.
We had to clean their dishes as well. And I mean, there was girls there that actually had to work outside in the fields, and I wasn't there at that time, but that's how far back it goes. We would literally have to scrub the bottom of pots and pans that were like black and soot. You name it, we had to do it.
Wow.
There wasn't a thing that we didn't have to do.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I also understand, based on the sort of pre-interview we had earlier when you were here last time, thanks for coming in, by the way, we learned about additives in the food. You felt that they were basically poisoning you is what it was, right?
I'm not the only girl that believes that has taken place.
Right.
A lot of us girls that were there that were already going through puberty, our periods would stop, and they stopped all the way up to like anywhere between a year to 2 years after we left the home. And I'm not the only one. There's been several girls there, and normally that when a bunch of females live together, their cycle becomes the same.
Right, I've heard that.
And not stop,
Right, yeah.
And there was girls there that weren't going through puberty, that didn't go through puberty while they were there. So there are a lot of issues, and I'm not the only one that has that issues as well. There's a lot of us females that are suffering from all types of illness illnesses that have come from New Bethany. Some of us have muscular sclerosis. Some of us have cancer. Some of us have brain tumors. We've had a couple of them actually pass away as well. And I have Googled, and like I said, I'm not the only one that's done it. We have Googled some of the things that we were told that possibly could have been put in our food.
Right.
And the more we would research on it, the more that it does cause brain tumors, and it does cause prostate cancer, and it does cause ovarian cysts, and it stops women from having their menstrual cycle.
Right.
Or it'll boost up their puberty to where, the girls didn't have it.
Right.
They got it, what I'm saying, before their time that they even needed to, or they didn't have it at all. And the ones that did have it would stop. And it's all on the on websites if you just research it, that, but we also believe that because there were so many girls that we can trust that worked in the kitchen that said that they don't believe that it was put like in our milk or whatever, possibly maybe our water. We're not actually really for sure. But this has been going on all the way back from when the Multiply site was open. Somebody had brought that to somebody's attention back in November of 2004. So ever since then, we've been like researching. But it's just it's not common for so many girls to go to one place that comes out not healthy.
Right.
We were denied medical attention. Some of us got medical attention, but not like we should. A majority of us didn't get medical attention. Like when I slit my wrist there, I didn't get medical attention. All they did was wrap up my arms and sent me to bed after I got licks for doing it because I made a mess. So, I mean, just little things like that, for all we knew, there's girls that could have been sick before they went to the home and would have never known it. You know what I'm saying? Until after.
Mm-hmm.
But there isn't one female that has health issues that it doesn't fall back somewhere like with cancer, or you know what I'm saying, like there's a couple girls that have the same type of cancer, there's a couple girls that don't, but it runs with cancer, you know what I mean? So that's what we believe in, as well as, there has to be something, or you just can't overwork somebody enough for them to actually get sick like that. So
you think it was a hormone that was added to to stop the menstrual cycles of these girls?
If you Google cow bovine, it'll tell you it's a hormone.
Yeah.
And it pumps up cows, it beats them up before it's time to slaughter them.
Right.
If you actually Google it to where it's put in human growth in their food, extra food, it'll tell you the side effects that it can cause, and a lot of it is that.
And you think that was the purpose?
Well,
that's why they did it, or
we raised our own food that I can remember. I remember one morning, Mac Ford coming in, and after we were all done eating breakfast, he had said, "So how did cinnamon taste?" And to this day, I will never forget that. And we were like, "Cinnamon?" They're like, "Well, yeah, you just ate cinnamon for sausage this morning." And it was the bowl that we had on at New Bethany. And I was just like, oh wow. So very seldom do I eat sausage to this day because of it, as well as pork. We had to actually go out.
So that was the pig, in other words.
Yeah. Well, Cinnamon was our bull. We ate him.
What was the bull? Oh,
and we also ate our pig. The pig, me and my three best friends at the time, we were sent out to look for a pig that had gotten out and went into the male pig pen, and we were out there for hours trying to find this female, pig, and we finally found it to turn around and to slaughter it and to pick the meat off its bones and to make pork rinds. And I'll never forget that. I mean, it was like watching three or four people slopping around in pig pen, actually it was pretty fun. It was the only time we actually really got to be away from the home and not have anybody pay any attention to us. But in the end, we had to actually slaughter it and pick the meat off the bones and eat it ourselves. And it wasn't something that I enjoyed doing afterwards, of course.
Well, it's a psychological trauma for a little girl.
Oh, yeah.
What happened when people try to escape, boys or girls, do you know?
I only remember one person not getting caught. But every other person got caught, and they were brought back to the home, as well as the police department also were bringing them back. And if you were brought back to the home and you thought you had it bad before, you have it 3 times as worse now. some of the dorm mothers at the time would ask for volunteers for other girls to hold them down while they got licks for, you know. When I tried running, actually, matter of fact, we talked about running at the time, and I had gotten licks, but I also had to sit on my knees while Miss Shipman had kept hitting me in the back of my head with the Bible, because she was going to take the devil out of me. If Matt Ford entered the room, you knew you were in serious trouble. Same with Mama Ford. They would beat you severely to where there were times you couldn't walk. You'd be bleeding. My best friend couldn't even walk. She was beat so bad that she couldn't barely walk. They had to carry her back to her room and clean her up because they had beat her so bad. And it's just, you know, and I mean, and that's just the beatings. Mm-hmm. They also, you know, especially if we were caught talking to anybody when we were on trips, we got even beat worse, as well as Matt Ford and his staff members would do other things as well.
Tell me about the trips. Where were you going, and what were you doing?
The trips were where the girls would go with Matt Ford and some other staff members to other churches, and we'd have to sing. But what it was Matt Ford would go to other churches and talk about how he rescued us or how he saved us, because we were drug addicts, or we were whores, or we were harlots, Jezebels. We were always called Jezebel, and I still to this day don't even know what that really means. And he would make a pity party on other churches for them to donate money to him. And I would go on to him. I would go many times, a lot, until the day that Matt Ford took me off to the side and made me have oral sex with him. And and I was told that it was all my fault because the scent of a woman would cause men to have lust against women at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so my trips after that weren't fun at all, thank you. They weren't fun. And so I decided that I didn't want to do the trips anymore. And other girls would go, and there was girls that experienced the same thing as I did. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't the first time that had happened to me on a trip. And I had been on several trips to other churches that it took place on. I mean, and it wasn't until I probably was there after 6 months when I decided that I didn't want to go on the trips anymore. And I thought if I didn't go on trips, it would stop. And it didn't.
It did not stop. Yeah.
It just proceeded on more, mm-hmm. and more with other staff members as well.
Is that right? Yeah. So they, the male members at least, were all pedophiles, would you say?
Oh yeah, but I even consider the female staff members as pedophiles as well, because they would make us strip our clothes down and stand and watch us take a shower or scrub us down. I mean, there was times that they scrubbed my hands one day because I refused to eat, and I dropped my tray. I refused to eat. I was not going to eat, and I was only there for like a couple of days, and they scrubbed my hands with one of those metal Brillo pads. Right. Yeah. And made me soak my hands in Ajax and bleach. And it was the same day when the CPS and the Child Protective Services in the state came out to the home, and I had my hands bandaged up, you know, and that was all because I didn't want to eat my food, you know.
And what happened when CPS raided the New Bethany? Did they close it down at that point?
Not while I was there, no.
Yeah.
No, it was, they removed, it was raided right before I had gotten there.
Right.
And a lot of the girls were taken away.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
To other homes, as well as to their house, mm-hmm. to their own home, for their parents to send them back Some of them didn't have parents, so the police department sent them back.
Oh, okay.
Or they were just sent back because they were sent to another home at the time. When I was there, it was right after that raid, and like I said, I made the 5th girl there. Mm-hmm. And when they came and raided the home, they took us off to the side and spoke to us one-on-one. And I remember speaking to the officer and the lady at that time. And I was still freshly new there, so I really wasn't for sure everything that was going on. I just knew that under the bandages that I had on my hands were like raw, like extremely raw, and they hurt so bad. And I had already been beaten by, the dorm mother and scrubbed down in the shower, and I was telling them that. And they told me at that time not to worry about it. They would take care of it. And I had nothing to worry about after that. And again is what I felt abandoned again because they didn't do anything about it. They just left us there.
Yeah. Now, why would the cops bring the girls and boys back?
Some of the girls because they didn't have homes.
Right.
And Mac Ford, some of the girls, he was their guardian. Our parents, to send us there, our parents had to sign to me, I consider it as a waiver.
Right.
They gave them full permission for corporal punishment and beyond. They also gave them, pretty much they signed over their rights to Mac Ford for the time being of us being there. Mm-hmm. Without that piece of paper, you weren't allowed to be there. Mm-hmm. So there were, every child that was sent to his compound at the time, he had full guardianship, full custody over every single child that was there. Mm-hmm. And if their parents didn't come get them, they would be sent back. If their parents didn't come get them, they were sent back. Or they were sent back by their parents as well. Just like with some of the girls when they would run. A lot of girls, if they were caught by the sheriff's department, the sheriff's department brought them back as well. Mm-hmm.
Well, Jennifer, I'm sorry to say we're almost out of time. First of all, I want to thank you for coming and being as open as you have been. I know this hasn't been easy for you, but I think it's been very valuable. I think it's really important that a story like this be told. I think also that the perpetrators be held accountable. I don't believe that it's ever too late to hold somebody accountable. And I think it is particularly egregious that Brother Mac Ford, his wife, staff members, and others did this under the color of being Christians. That has to have affected your faith, I would think.
Oh yeah, I don't have faith anymore.
Yeah,
I let that all go when I left New Bethany.
Yeah, I understand.
What faith I did have, they destroyed that. They destroyed every bit of it.
Yeah, and I pray that it'll come back in the right way for you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Halter, who is a survivor of New Bethany and a member of SIA, which is Survivors of Institutional Abuse. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Stick around. There's plenty more right here on Keene. God bless you.